So I wanted to share a story, a personal story, and that is that my mother had hiatal hernia, and I was unable to help her because I was a child. But it's funny the things you forget about your childhood. My mother was ill all the time. She used to pass out on the floor from low blood sugar. You could walk into the kitchen and she would just be lying there on the floor. She had terrible migraines, so she was in a lot of pain. But the thing that sparked this memory was that recently a patient was telling me how she gets really bad trapped gas, and she said it's very painful, and she kind of massages it, and then she said, "I will burp, and it is the loudest noise, and my family makes fun of me, but then I get some relief, but of course it keeps happening. The trapped gas keeps happening." And all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, my mother, she would just be rubbing her sternum and rubbing her sternum, and then the sound that would come out of her was pretty loud and pretty intense. And again, I was a kid, I didn't think much of it. She was always giving herself enemas because she had terrible constipation. The poor woman's health was awful. Then she lived to 93, and I started working with her in her late 60s. She was more than 40 years my senior, but she joked that, well, she didn't, it wasn't a joke actually. She commented that her 70s and 80s were her best decades because she no longer had constipation, she no longer had migraines, she wasn't passing out from low blood sugar, and she credited that to the work that myself and my husband did for her, which was great. But then I remembered that when she was in New York, I grew up in New York and we were living in California at the time, and when we moved her out there with my dad, there were several nights that we received calls at 2 and 3 a.m. in the morning, and she said, "I think I'm dying, I can't breathe, you know, my heart's palpitating, I want you to come and then get an ambulance." So it was like, and at this point, she was in a health center with my dad, you know, a retirement community that had a hospital on the grounds, you know, had a medical center on the grounds. But she just wanted me there, which I understood. So you know, we would rush over there. And at that point, we were kind of newly understanding about hiatal hernia and did some massage to relax her diaphragm, etc. And then fortunately those calls in the middle of the night all but went away because we were working with her diet and her gut health, etc. But you know, it just struck me that how many people have parents, have friends, have cousins, have brothers and sisters who are suffering and are so miserable with this. I mean, we know what it's like with heart palpitations, shortness of breath, acid reflux, the trapped gas, the constipation, the anxiety. Oh, and she had a lot of anxiety as well, my whole life growing up. So all of these things that now I can help people with. And I'm delighted at that and wanting to help more and more because it is a miserable way to live. It is really not living. You're certainly not having fun. And it's solvable, you know, naturally, without drugs, without surgery. So I couldn't help my mom because I was too young, but I can help you and your friends and your family. And I just wanted to sort of invite you to contact us if you have any of these symptoms, because we do have a program that works very, very well, and it's natural, no drugs or surgery, and I would be delighted to help so you don't have to be like my mom was, suffering all those years. And I'll talk to you soon.